San Francisco's city schools are also bracing for some big budget cuts. CBS 5 has learned that tomorrow the district will declare a fiscal emergency. Well, Mike Sugarman shows us what students and teachers may have to do without.
Now I'm going to ask you to read just a small section in your book.
California schools get threatened often by cuts during budget debates, but this time it could be different.
Of course it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. We were just looking at...
We hear terrible, terrible every year. Is this terrible, terrible?
Oh, this is terrible, terrible.
San Francisco Teachers Union Chief Dennis Kelly is just one of the people we talked with today who have 20, 30 years experience in the district, and they all say it has never been like this.
This is the most grandiose cut to be thrown out there.
Supervisor Tom Ammiano was a teacher and school board member before he ended up at City Hall. The governor's proposed 10% cut across the board could subtract $50 million out of San Francisco schools.
When it comes to the cash and some of the resources that are required, we're very, very thin.
So tomorrow, CBS 5 has learned, Superintendent of Schools Carlos Garcia will impose a state of emergency. It will be the first in the state, but likely not the last. He didn't want to talk with us today, but next year could be brutal.
We read every day about the science gap, that the United States is falling behind Japan and Russia and China and so on. Well, we're not going to have the Bunsen burners, we're not going to have the microscopes. The science teachers are going to be running for supplies, going into their own pockets.
For those who remain, will there be fewer teachers, more crowded classrooms? There's a great fear that proposed cuts could do just that.
They remind me of what happened in '91 when something like 1,200 teachers got layoff notices. Think of the impact that had on the school sites.
We're, I think, 49th or 48th in the states in funding, and we're cutting back from there. We're not getting adequate music programs. We're not getting adequate PE programs.
Superintendent Garcia is brand new on his job. No one's ever called a state of emergency before, and no one knows exactly what he can and can't do with it. But it does send a message to students, parents, and teachers that big changes are coming, and none of them are good. In San Francisco, Mike Sugarman, CBS 5.